Hannity, so liberal Morning Joe and his fiancée, they are at it again. This time, NBC's Morning Dose of Hate is now bashing President Trump over something that he said at his rally last night in Iowa. Now, tonight, we're going to examine their latest emotional breakdown and give the newly engaged hosts, Joe and Mika, some very important help and advice. That's our mini monologue tonight. All right, so during last night's rally, President Trump, he touted the abilities of his chief economic advisor, Gary Cohn, and his Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross. Now, these are two men who have garnered tremendous success in the private sector before literally leaving behind millions to serve the public. Watch this.
So somebody said, why did you appoint a rich person to be in charge of the economy? I said, no, it's true. I said, because that's the kind of thinking we want. I mean, you know, really, because they're representing the country. These are people that are great, brilliant business minds, and that's what we need. That's what we have to have. I love all people, rich or poor. But in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense?
All right, but of course, the liberals over at Liberal Joe, they didn't agree with the president's comments. Yes, watch this.
2017, blessed are the poor.
It's amazing. Any other person in politics who would say something like that would like have their career crushed, and Donald Trump's just gonna like skate by it.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Radical.
Yeah. Are you speechless?
I am.
Okay.
I really am.
Or is this just not?
Yeah, there's just something a little bit twisted about that. That's twisted in a way that's hard to dissect.
Maybe progress. They didn't call him a schmuck today. But anyway, what are they talking about? In all my years in construction, the restaurant business, I never got a job from a poor person, not one time. In fact, successful entrepreneurs and economic geniuses who spend their lives in the private sector, they understand the economy, they know how to make it thrive, and that benefits all of us. And in my opinion, if a man or a woman are willing to forego millions and millions and millions of dollars that they'd put in their pocket to serve their country, to help create jobs for people out of work, in poverty, on food stamps, well, you know what? I think that's a good service for the country. And sadly, it's only the latest example of, well, liberal Joe and Mika melting down over President Trump. Now, take a look at the wide range of emotions that they show on a regular basis.
Donald Trump, again, being a schmuck. He looked like a thug. He looked like a goon. You look at the handshake. You look at this. Just what a thug.
You got to stop putting Kellyanne on the air. It's politics porn.
We're totally unprepared for the job of being president, unfortunately, not knowing what he does not know.
And possibly unfit mentally. Sorry.
It would be like somebody pooping their pants and then people looking at it and saying, oh, that's modern art. Don't you understand? I am making a statement against Russian aggression.
This is not funny. This is really bad. Just for the record, we're all really nervous.
All right, with all these emotional breakdowns, all this anger towards the president, I'm actually getting worried about Mika and Liberal Joe. You see, America's favorite couple that nobody watches, well, it's just kind of, they're starting out their lives together, and I want them to be successful. I even tweeted out congratulations on their engagement. It seems the stress of the Trump presidency now is really beginning to drag them down, and I'm beginning to see way too many emotional breakdowns every day. I even heard a rumor that they've been very distraught, and they weren't even able to see President Trump look-alike get killed during a Shakespeare play in the park with their blankie and, of course, their picnic basket and their champagne and caviar. All right, so Liberal Joe, Mika, if you're watching tonight, I want you to know I am willing to pay out of my pocket, out of love and sympathy, for therapy for a year, so your new beautiful relationship can thrive in the Trump era, and that emotionally you'll be stronger and able to cope in these difficult times for you. Joining us now, author of the bestseller, In Trump We Trust, and Coulter. Now, the reason I wanted you for this, because you're the only conservative friend that I have that actually watches that garbage. I don't know why, but you do.
Actually, I don't get up early enough to watch Morning Joe. So thank you for showing that to me. I think that's really helpful for Trump, this smirking, eye-rolling really kind of bitchy attacks on him. I mean, it warms your heart toward the president. I think that's probably helping him.
I watched the rally like you did, and it's interesting when he gets out of the D.C. bubble and he goes to the American people. They support his agenda, the broader points, the things that you loved about him from day one, and I supported from day one. Let's move on to something. You wrote a great column, and I want to make sure I get this in. You said the left has one more argument in them: kill them. And I thought it was a very powerful, strong piece.
Thank you. Well, I had to cut it down by about 2/3 because there were so many examples of leftist violence over the years, which has been stepped up massively since Donald Trump came on the scene. But I've just been, sort of stunned after the second Bernie Sanders supporter in the last month to either commit mass murder or attempt to commit mass murder. That the response through the media is that, well, Donald Trump, he shares some of the blame for he called Hillary crooked Hillary. Well, for one thing, give me a break. Crooked Hillary, you can't call a rival politician a crook, a liar. Go back to look at the things Harry Truman said. Go back to, colonial times and what politicians accuse one another of. But more importantly, look at the audiences listening to this. You can go back centuries. Violence in this country has always come from the political left. I mean, political violence has. Some presidential assassinations, for example, the guy just thought he was the king of England and William McKinley had cheated him or something. But of the political assassination or presidential assassination attempts, it's all come from the political left. We had Al Sharpton in the 1990s. He gives a speech outside Freddy's. Guy runs into the store and kills 7 people. I think it was the next day or 2 days later. Al Sharpton speaks at what was it, Cato Gavin's funeral out in Crown Heights, and there are mobs raging through, and 2 people are killed. The anti-Donald Trump hate map that VDARE, an immigration restrictionist website, has put up, it's stunning. It's a map of the United States, and you click on bubbles, and you can get the police report and the news articles about it, and I've linked to it. But we're talking about blood and violence against Trump supporters. They have one thing, that guy at Comet Pizza.
I'm right. And you know what? Obama, Hillary, none top Democrat. The ISIS pose, severed head, president, not a peep out of them.
Right, when they're going to call the president Hitler, fascist, bigot, white supremacist, they are ginning up people who are obviously some segment of the liberal audience is mentally unbalanced and do have homicidal rages. And the respectable left is intentionally ginning up the psychotic left. That's what we are seeing. No, both sides.
Right. Ann Coulter, great column, and we love having you on. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
When we come back, growing calls for Democrats.